Welcome to this overview of motivational interviewing and its application in the comprehensive program provided by the UIC College of Nursing. This training will help outreach workers, care managers, and other program staff understand the basics of motivational interviewing, apply these techniques to their work in the comprehensive program, and build class members' motivation to engage in transition activities. Motivational interviewing is an effective tool for helping build members' motivation to transition into the community. Motivational interviewing is described as a collaborative, goal-oriented communication style with particular attention to the language of change. It is designed to strengthen personal motivation for and commitment to a specific goal by eliciting and exploring the person's own reasons for change within an atmosphere of acceptance and compassion. Motivational interviewing has several goals: to help individuals discover their own interest in making a change, to talk about this desire for change in their own words, to identify ambivalence about the change, to plan for and begin the process of change, to elicit and strengthen change talk, to build confidence in taking action, to identify even small changes that are important, and to strengthen an individual's commitment to change. These principles are the core features of motivational interviewing. Motivational interviewing is based on 4 foundational principles: expressing empathy, supporting self-efficacy, rolling with resistance, and developing discrepancy. Let's look at each of these in more detail now. The first principle, expressing empathy, requires reflective listening. This is an active process that communicates respect and acceptance of the individual and their feelings. It is the basis of a non-judgmental, collaborative relationship. By being empathetic, the worker is able to facilitate change through acceptance. They are also able to acknowledge that ambivalence about change, that is, not being sure if you actually want to change, is completely normal. Empathy is not the same as identification. Empathy is acknowledging a person's feelings and beliefs, whereas identification is comparing another person's experience with your own. Saying, "I know how you must feel," is identification. It's significantly less helpful than an empathetic response like, "It sounds like you feel sad." Not all communication has to be empathetic. Even in the realm of motivational interviewing, there's a place for non-empathetic communication. However, empathy should generally be the default communication style, and comprehensive program staff should be very intentional if they are choosing to communicate in a non-empathetic way. Non-empathetic communication includes directing, telling a person what they should do, warning or threatening, focusing on the potential negative consequences to a person if they do not make the change, advice giving, telling a person what you think they should be doing, persuading with logic, trying to use reason to overcome what is essentially an emotional argument, moralizing, operating from a judgmental or morals-based attitude, shaming, making a person feel bad for doing or not doing something, interpreting, offering a meaning for a person's feelings that may not be accurate, consoling, telling a person that they shouldn't feel bad or that things will get better, probing, asking follow-up questions without acknowledging a person's feelings, distracting, trying to make the person think about something other than their feelings. The second principle is exploring self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is a person's belief in their ability to achieve their goals. If a class member appears to be unmotivated or reluctant to change, the root cause may be the member's belief about their ability to make that change. Someone may tell you they don't want to change, but fundamentally, they don't believe that they're able to. A person's lack of belief in their self-efficacy could come from a variety of sources. Symptoms of depression or other mental health issues, which can lead to lethargy and a feeling of incompetence. Dynamics that exist in the family of origin, for example, family members who told a person they were incapable. Long-term institutionalization. Individuals who have been in a facility for a long time may not have completed tasks independently for quite some time and may not believe they are able to. Being overwhelmed with the tasks required for condition management. Many chronic conditions have complex steps involved in managing them, and the individual may not feel capable of tackling these. And past difficulties with making change. If a person has tried to make a change unsuccessfully multiple times, they may believe they are unable to do so. Comprehensive program staff can build up a person's sense of self-efficacy by providing education about the program and about the level of effort actually involved. Instilling hope, showing a person the possibilities that exist for their transition. Using one step at a time language that focuses on small steps towards larger change. Helping a person believe that change is possible, often by telling the person that you believe change is possible. And acknowledging that the person has control over their life and their choices. The third principle, rolling with resistance, is one of the quintessential features of motivational interviewing. Rolling with resistance acknowledges that resistance is a completely normal part of the change process. When a person displays resistance, they are communicating that the worker should change direction or listen more closely to what the person is saying. Resistance is like a red flag that tells you that the person has a different view of their situation than you do. When a member demonstrates resistance, the worker should keep a few things in mind. Rolling with resistance involves avoiding arguments and power struggles. Building an adversarial relationship with the member is unlikely to have a positive long-term outcome. Part of self-efficacy is helping the member understand that they are in control of their lives. Arguing with them can work against that. Perceptions are often able to be shifted, but staff cannot impose a new viewpoint on the member. A member has to want to see things differently in order to be open to a new perspective. Momentum is also a key tool in rolling with resistance. A little bit of motion in the direction of change can be built upon, even if the member is expressing resistance. Finally, the person with the best knowledge of the solutions to their problems is the member themselves. Helping the member recognize that they are a great resource for finding solutions to their own problems can both overcome resistance and build self-efficacy. The fourth and final principle of motivational interviewing is developing discrepancy. Members develop motivation for change when they experience a discrepancy, that is, a difference between where they are and where they want to be. Motivational interviewing is an effective tool for helping the person recognize the discrepancy by looking at the outcomes or consequences of their decisions. However, there is a difference between a member acknowledging where they want to be versus where they feel they should be. If they are basing this idea of where they should be on other people's values or opinions, this may not actually represent what the member actually wants for themselves. If the member's understanding of where they are is the same as where they want to be, even if they feel they should be somewhere else, they will not actually experience that as a discrepancy. Program staff can help members develop discrepancy by working with the member to clarify their goals. What does the member want, and how do those goals align with their values? They can help the person identify how their current behaviors and choices either promote or hinder their ability to achieve those goals. Finally, a decisional balance exercise can help the member identify the benefits and risks associated with either changing or not changing. This is essentially a list of pros and cons of keeping the member's behavior the same and the pros and cons of making a change. What are some of the strategies to put motivational interviewing to work? Ultimately, motivational interviewing is aimed at helping the member contemplate, prepare for, and enact change. In order to accomplish this, the worker should listen for key phrases that are called change talk. Change talk is any statement that shows that the member is leaning towards change or that provides a potential reason for change. Workers must actively listen to member statements in order to recognize change talk. It is also important to note that change talk has a spectrum of strengths, everything from preparatory, I could make a change, to committed, I will make a change. There is an acronym for the different types of change talk, DARN-C. These are roughly in order from the least committed to the most committed. D is for desire. A member might say, I want to move out, or I would like to have my own apartment. A is for ability. A member saying, I can definitely live on my own. R is for reasons. A member who says, I could spend more time with family members if I moved out. N is for need. I have to get out of here. Finally, C is for commitment. I am going to get my own place. Staff in the comprehensive program should be attuned to these types of phrases and build upon this change talk as they work with a member to build motivation to engage with the program. In contrast to change talk, sustained talk appears when the member is stating reasons to not make a change. These reasons to maintain the status quo are not the same as resistance. Generally, workers should avoid eliciting sustained talk from members, with some exceptions, and when they hear sustained talk, try to reframe or shift the conversation to change talk. The goal in a motivational interviewing interaction is to have high levels of change talk and low levels of sustained talk. There are 4 primary communication strategies used in motivational interviewing, which can be remembered with the acronym OARS: open-ended questions, affirmations, reflective listening, and summarizing. Open-ended questions help a member answer questions from their own perspective. This allows members to express their point of view and lead the conversation. The worker can discover and follow the member's perspective rather than guiding it through their own questions. Open-ended questions are questions that invite a broader response than just yes or no. Asking a member, what makes you want to live in the community, will elicit a more useful response than, do you want to move out? The level of detail that can be obtained from an open-ended question helps build the class member's interest and engagement. Affirming a member means to listen actively for the member's strengths, values, aspirations, and positive qualities, and reflecting these back to the member in a way that helps the member recognize these aspects of themselves. Affirming helps build a member's sense of self-efficacy and can shift a member's focus away from sustained talk towards change talk. If a class member says, the last time I lived alone, I almost died because I had so much trouble taking care of myself, the worker could offer an affirming response. What I'm hearing is that it is very important for you to succeed in the community. You've tried to live alone before and experienced challenges. It seems like you're looking for the right type of supports to make this work. This helps shift the focus away from the class member's struggles and onto their strengths. In this case, specifically, their commitment to finding the support to live alone successfully. Reflective listening is a core communication technique for most service providers, but it takes on special importance in motivational interviewing. Reflective listening involves reflecting members' words back to them instead of asking questions. Effective reflections are collaborative and non-judgmental. Reflection is not the same as repeating or echoing. Parroting the member's exact words back to them does not feel engaged or invested. The goal is to follow the spirit of what the member is saying, the ideas, perceptions, and feelings that they are sharing, and trying to show that you understand. This helps the member explore and define for themselves what their behavior or lack of change is about. It also offers opportunities for the member to clarify or expand on the reflection provided by the worker. Through reflective listening, the member's focus is shifted to their own knowledge and resources, which fosters a sense of independence and self-efficacy. The last of the OR's strategies is summarizing. Effective motivational interviewing conversations end with a strategic, collaborative summary of the discussion and a recap of the next steps for both the worker and the member. Interim summaries are used along with reflections throughout a conversation. Summarizing the conversation so far helps to reinforce the member's progress, highlight realizations and change talk, and link together themes in the conversation. Summaries also show the member and worker areas where there may be confusion or misunderstanding. Summaries are not always just the worker reviewing the conversation to the member, but can be member-generated as well. Asking the member to recap the discussion and the next steps is an effective way of assessing and building understanding. Building a list of pros and cons of making a change is one intervention that can be effective in building motivation to change. The worker and member together make a list of the positive and negative aspects of a behavior or situation. For example, the good things about living in a nursing facility and the not so good things about living in a nursing facility. It is best to begin with the positive aspects of the status quo, as this elicits sustained talk, the reason a member might want to stay in the facility. Address the not so good aspects second, and with more emphasis, as this elicits change talk and can be built upon in the rest of the interaction. The decisional balance exercise is similar to the pros and cons list. However, it uses 4 quadrants to look at the positives and negatives, both of making change and about staying the same. The worker helps the member to look at and list the good things about the status quo, for example, staying in a nursing facility, as well as the not so good things about the situation. They then look at the positive aspects of making a change, such as moving out, as well as the less positive things about the change. Again, because this exercise elicits sustained talk, it is important to give more weight to the pro-change quadrants, that is, what is not good about the status quo, and what is good about changing the situation. This ensures that the member has change talk to build upon. One final strategy to address is asking permission. Rather than directly giving advice or suggestions or sharing information without prompting, the worker asks permission of the member. This can be through asking the member if they would like to hear more or saying something like, "I have some more information I would like to share with you, if you would be okay with that." This gives the member control of the conversation, as well as the opportunity to reject the suggestions. If a member declines to receive additional information or suggestions, the worker can roll with that resistance and explore why the member may not want to engage further. This can be a rich source of discussion and lay a solid foundation for further engagement in the future. How can motivational interviewing be used in the comprehensive program? Motivational interviewing is an effective tool throughout the comprehensive program process and can be used by workers in any role in the program. This begins with outreach, continues through the assessment, and is important throughout the pre-transition process, as well as in maintaining engagement once the member is in the community. As the first point of contact for most members, and the most likely to encounter members who are resistant to moving or reluctant to engage in the process, outreach workers must use motivational interviewing consistently in order to build class members' motivation for transition. When a class member declines outreach or declines to move forward with an assessment, outreach workers can use motivational interviewing to explore the reasons why and help elicit change talk. A thorough implementation of motivational interviewing with reluctant class members can help increase their interest in transition and change some declinations into decisions to proceed. Assessors also may encounter class members who are reluctant or ambivalent about transitioning. Assessors can effectively use motivational interviewing and the information they gather during the assessment process in order to build engagement and momentum towards transition. Much of the assessment focuses on the member's interests, desires, and experiences, and this is a rich resource for overcoming ambivalence and supporting motivation. In addition, assessors are well placed to promote self-efficacy, as they have detailed information on the member's strengths and abilities. Once a member is proceeding towards transition, care managers and other staff working with the member can use motivational interviewing to support and build upon class members' interests in moving into the community. It is common for class members to experience ambivalence about the transition process as it moves on. It may take longer than they had anticipated or involve too many challenging tasks. Care managers can address this ambivalence and promote engagement using motivational interviewing. As the relationship and rapport between worker and member improves, so can the effectiveness of this intervention. Even once a member moves out of the facility and into the community, motivation is still an important part of maintaining their success and stability. Post-transition staff can use motivational interviewing to maintain engagement in services, as well as to make other positive changes. This is especially helpful when class members begin to experience challenges with community living. In addition, motivational interviewing can help class members make positive changes such as weight loss, smoking cessation, medication adherence, or reducing substance use. There are several additional resources available to learn about motivational interviewing, including the Case Western Reserve Center for Evidence-Based Practice and the Motivational Interviewing Network of Trainers. Agencies and staff should consider additional professional development related to motivational interviewing. Additional comprehensive program educational materials can be found on the Colbert-Williams training website, managed by the UIC College of Nursing. Any questions can be directed to the Colbert-Williams Help Desk listed on that website. Thank you for your attention and efforts to ensure safe and successful member transitions.